Welcome to my LEGO Star Wars Y-Wing Microfighter comparison. On the left here we have the LEGO Star Wars 75263 Resistance Y-Wing Microfighter. And on the right here we have the 75391 LEGO Star Wars Captain Rex Y-Wing. Now, one category I will be skipping in this comparison is minifigures. There's one in each set, although they're different minifigures, and one is definitely more of a favorite character than the other. I mean, like, seriously, when it comes down to which is the better minifigure, is it even a comparison? You know the answer. With that out of the way, we're going to look at the differences in the build style with these, as well as which one just honestly is better. Just either based off looks, playability, all that, even for a small set. I think first thing we'll talk about here is the ugly. Which one has the uglier play feature? The Resistance Y-Wing from 2020 with the Flickfire missiles, or the Stud Shooters from the 2024 Y-Wing? I'll get an example of how they fire off. You're supposed to flick them, but that doesn't really do anything. You have to, like, it's like, bro, there's like, oh my gosh. Those are in, bro, you can't even get those up. There we go. So, you're supposed to just push on them and they fire. I like the piece, but I don't like the play function that it goes with. It. I like the missiles though. They're cool. This brings me back to my childhood. I'm getting distracted here. But I mean, with them gone, it leaves, I think even with them there, it just doesn't look good. It leaves these empty spots here with holes on the top. It just doesn't look good for the Y-Wing. Like, obviously, yeah, you can go and remove them, but then there's just like a massive gap there. I guess you could modify it that way, but it just doesn't look good. You can, like, tell it's... We're not gonna be here talking about how you can modify your sets to make them look better, obviously. Now, the one thing Captain Rex's Y-Wing does that does give it a little bit of an upper hand here is that these Stud Shooters are actually hidden underneath the build rather than being on top, which I do think looks nice and better. And you can give I'll fire it off. I'll lose the stud to the void just for you guys. Maybe. Okay, well, apparently the stud doesn't want to fire. And so there, it's about half out. So, yeah, that doesn't want to fire. How about the other one? Oh, there it goes. And I see where it is. Alright. And I did show this in the review, but you can remove them easily, and it won't really affect the build too much, honestly. I think you know what I'm going to say here. I think I like the Captain Rex's Y-Wing better in terms of what looks ugly. I mean, the shooting play feature, it always looks ugly on a LEGO Star Wars set unless they can... There's a few exceptions, but most of the time it looks ugly. And in my opinion, I think this set just does it better. It hides it pretty well. Unlike this set, it just... Yeah, so that's 1 point for Captain Rex's Y-Wing. Now, obviously, the design of both of these is very different. You can see some similarities, like with the engines. Well, we'll take a pretty close look at both of them, to see which one is better looking, and then we'll get to displayability. So the first one that we got here is the 2020 Y-Wing, and, well, I don't know what much to say. This one does have a turret on the top, which I think does look nice. Is a great inclusion, which is missing on the Captain Rex's one, which we'll talk about in a minute. The turret here is kind of hidden at the bottom. The engine design is really cool, I think, with the missile, what they were able to do with the missile pieces. Obviously, this is pretty much the exact same design as the 2017 one, or 2016 one, the yellow Y-Wing. Back here we have some Cool detail, just some pieces. Don't know what much else to say. There's very little detail on here, but there's some detail which I think does look nice. You have red stripe here on the engine. Yeah. I think I've covered about everything. I just don't know what to talk about much with this one. These smaller sets, there's not really much detail, but I think the amount of detail they were able to get on this thing is nice. Then we get to the big boy, Captain Rex's Y-Wing. The engines are obviously a much different build. This one obviously being a lot simpler, although I did like that when it came to building. But yeah, obviously simpler doesn't always mean better. We talked about the stud shooters. We have the cockpit here. There is a control panel on the inside, which is not there in the 2020 version. What he's missing though is the gunner here, or the gun, or at least some representation of the gun. I think the only real representation we have of the gunner seat is this little 1x1 piece here. It just doesn't feel like enough for me. I feel like maybe like a bubble or like a stud would have worked better here, or like something they have on the 2020 version with the actual gun, but I think it still looks nice regardless. It has the blue striping on here, obviously, which goes all the way through the ship. So I'm glad, not glad. I think it's cool that they were able to get that. What else? Don't know much else to say about this. I think both equally look as good, although Captain Rex's Y-Wing, in my opinion, does look a little bit better. So the point will be going to Captain Rex's Y-Wing. So it is still in the lead now with 2 points, and the one is at 0 points. Will it get anything in this comparison? Probably not. It's a sequel set. I hate the sequels. The next category we have here is play features. Each has a few play features, not many, but it is a smaller set, so there are a few. Starting with 2020, you can obviously put your minifigure inside. It is a bit of a tight fit there, and the hands are kind of in the way, so unless you want to like pop the arms out to get them out of the way. Like we mentioned before, it has the flick fire missiles. That one flying. But one of mine doesn't want to fire. That's not going to affect its score at all. Definitely not. Just put that back in there. But what this does have is a cool gunner seat at the back, which I think is a cool little extra thing for kids to play around with. I don't know. I think having this here is definitely cool in my opinion. You know, swerve around, move up and down. I don't know. Swooshability on this thing, I give it about a 8 or 9. It's pretty swooshable. Captain Rex's Y-Wing is a different story here. You can obviously put your minifigure inside. Maybe. And he does fit a little bit better in there, not completely cramped in there like the other Y-Wing. And outside of that, the only other play feature is the stud shooters, and obviously just picking this thing up and flying it around, which is, I think, is a great idea with these Microfighters. Just in general, as you can pick them up, and it's a smaller ship for kids to fly around without, you know, having to buy the big ones and dropping them. I think for this category, I'm going to give it to the 2020 version. Just, in my opinion, I think it's more playable than this one. I feel like the one with the Captain Rex's Y-Wing would be more of a collector's piece for most people, especially for that Captain Rex figure. So, for this one, I'm going to give the point to the 2020 version. With that in mind, the Captain Rex's Y-Wing does win this comparison. That is going to be it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to check out my review of the Captain Rex's Y-Wing or any of the other 2024 sets, I'll leave a link down in the description to the Captain Rex's Y-Wing review and also the 2024 set reviews. Tomorrow should be my review of the 2020 Y-Wing, so make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss that. Yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this comparison. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe if you're around here. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss another video. And until next time, bye.